By their fruits ye shall know them. If you want to understand what somebody is capable of, look at their past, look at their history, look at their biography. New York City is an interesting case because it's a city that, though run by the Democratic machine for decades, over a century, more than a century, has had Republican mayors within recent memory. If you want the New York of Rudy Giuliani, and even to an extent Mike Bloomberg, maybe you should vote Republican. If you want the New York of Bill de Blasio and David Dinkins, vote Democrat. Or you can look at a city like Chicago, Los Angeles, or San Francisco, which for decades have been under Democrat rule, and see what they have in store. A society where normal citizens do not have the ability to own firearms, but criminals have no trouble getting a hold of them. A society where the police are neutered and prevented from protecting citizens and serving their communities. A society where the media is allowed to cherry pick stories based on how favorable or unfavorable they are to the political party in power, and where tech companies censor routinely what people see and hear and can communicate about based on whether or not it supports or opposes the great leader. For the first time in my lifetime, the Democrats are openly advocating variants of socialism. And whether or not their mouthpiece Joe Biden does, the party establishment, the congressional and senatorial candidates, support a fundamental deconstruction of the U.S. Constitution as a living part of our lives, and its replacement with a utopian idea of equality. But it's George Soros type equality. It's the equality where if you've already made it and are rich and are one of the cognoscenti nomenclatura, one of the privileged, best and brightest, you'll get to live like an old feudal aristocrat, as a lord among peasants, serfs, and slaves. And that's what's for the rest of us. We'll be maintained like peasants, serfs, and slaves. Please, look into these things yourselves. Look into what Democrat politicians have actually done in the places where they have really uncontested power. If you want that as your future, vote Democrat, vote Biden. If you want a continuation of the American dream, of the constitutional republic that allows you to decide what information is valuable, you to decide what information means, you to decide how you're going to chart your economic future, you to decide what you consider to be truth from what the party or the government or the people in power consider to be truth, maybe you want to vote Republican. Maybe you want to vote for the scary, obnoxious orange man who actually has governed in a more conservative fashion than any president since Ronald Reagan. We know what President Trump is capable of because we know what he has done. He is not the bogeyman of 2016. We also know what Joe Biden and what the Democrats are capable of. By their fruits ye shall know them.